Hi, folks. This is Mr. Landis. Uh, we are going to be creating some logos today using an app called Adobe Spark Post. Now, if you go to the App Store and search for Spark Post, you should have no problem finding it. The only thing that takes a little bit of time after you get it installed is that it is going to ask you to use an Adobe account. And if you don't have an account with Adobe, it is free. I recommend using the sign in with Google option that if you already have a Gmail account, I know most people do, that will keep you from having to, remember another password or anything like that. It'll just connect with your Google account. That's how I have mine set up. So Spark Post, first of all, we're going to be using it to create some logos. And you can see I've already made a logo for a fizzy drink called Quench here, just as practice. But you should know that this app is not really made for creating logos per se. It's an app that is actually designed to help people to create social media posts. So if you were managing social media for a company and you needed to create several different posts to keep up your social media account, this would be an app that you could use to create those posts really quickly. But we're going to be using it because it's a really handy app to do this kind of visual design on a phone. And I tried out a few different apps that for doing this kind of thing on a phone, and I thought this was the best one. The Adobe does have a whole bunch of other apps that I encourage you to download and try out once you have your Adobe account set up. There's different apps that are, there's things like Photoshop Elements or Photoshop Mix, Lightroom, these different apps that kind of do different things that are connected to creative media work. And I certainly encourage you to try those out because the mobile apps are all free, although they do try to sell you upgrades from time to time. And we'll see some of that in here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign, create something new. And I'm going to create something with a solid color background. All these other options are going to create something too complicated. I just want a normal solid color. That's the top option there. And I can choose my color, but because what I really want is just a white background to work with, even though I might make my logos different colors, I want to start with a white piece of paper. I hit next. And when it comes to this next menu here, it's asking me basically the size. So a lot of these, like I said, are set up for social media. So do I want to do sizes that work well on YouTube or on Instagram or Snapchat? I'm going to go right past all of those to the paper sizes because I want to create something that would be I could print out and give to my client and say, here are my different logo ideas. So I'm going to come over here. Whoops. And here we go. A4. Regular A4 paper is that option right there. Let me choose that. And done. Okay, and it starts off with a text object already in there. So I could either double tap that one to edit it or add something new. I'm going to go ahead and double tap that to edit it. And I'm going to go ahead and just put in my brand name. And I'm going to be making a logo for a fizzy drink called Slake. So Slake. There we go. Done. Okay, and they have this kind of fun feature, this style feature here with a wheel. And this is kind of a cool way to help give you some ideas. And you rotate the wheel and spin it around, and it gives you all kinds of different starting ideas for your logo. But there's really no substitute for you kind of doing things yourself and coming up with your own ideas and getting into doing things on your own. So I'm actually going to cancel that. Let's try that again. Slake, done. And rather than doing that, I'm going to go through all these different options here. So, of course, I want to think about my font. That's the biggest choice with my logo is what kind of font do I want. And this is really all about the feeling. So let's say I want Slake to have a very relaxed feeling. So since I want it to be really relaxed, I'm not going to choose a font like Railway, which is very big and bold and in your face. I'm going to choose a more chill, relaxed looking font. This one, Local Brew. Let's say that's not quite it. How about Quicksand? Okay, that's a very relaxed feeling font, I feel. Okay, so now that gives me my font. Let's think about my color. I really don't like that kind of pukey green color. So let's switch that over. There's a nice relaxed color. Okay, I could even choose a custom color. Ooh, even more relaxed colors here. Here we go. Yeah. There we go. Nice, cool turquoise. I like it. Okay. Now, under effects, I definitely want you to look at this because oftentimes what I find is that I would like to create, say, a white logo on a white background. And you can't do that because that makes your letters invisible. In fact, let me show you, obviously. If I choose white letters, everything disappears because I'm on a white background. But I can get around that by thinking about having an outline. So if I add an outline to it and choose the options under that, let's choose a black outline. There we go. Now I'm perfectly happy having white letters on a white background. I can choose I can choose a thick outline or a thin one. I like it, kind of like it with a nice thick one. That actually is kind of cool. Okay, let me hit done. I also have the option, if I could do, instead of an outline, I could do a shadow. Apparently I can do both. Now a shadow is not going to make sense in yellow. Let me do black. There we go. So a shadow is similar to an outline, but it's a shadow. And this option here to put a shape around the outside is something else you might want to consider when it comes to a logo, because a lot of logos use these kinds of shapes. Let's see. Personally, I don't care for the shape, but I do like having the outline like that. That's pretty good. Okay. Now, that gives me my logo, but I didn't like those shape options, but let's say I did want to add something to this logo, something visual, something graphic. If I hit add, one thing I can add, and you might be tempted to go right down here where it says add logo. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. That's a feature that's locked out unless we pay for the fancy version, which we're not going to do. So I'm going to hit add, and what I am going to do is add an icon. And this gives me a nice little library of shapes, and I can even search. So for a drink, let me just search for drink and see what comes up. Some of those looking pretty good. I can find these nice simple shapes that actually some of them might work very well in a logo. So let me try this kind of cup shape here. Okay, and up at the top right, I say add one. So that gives me my cup. Okay, and I want to put that slake onto the cup, and that'll be a really nice logo for me. Problem is, the cup is on top. So to fix that, I just go to the Order tab, and I move it down one. That's starting to look pretty good. Let's see, and let me shrink that down. It works just the way you think it does. Move those little circles around. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's call that one logo. Oops. Can be kind of tricky to do this. With little phone screens sometimes. Okay, so we'll call that one logo. Ooh, too small. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and add another one. And I would just go ahead and add text. We're going to type in Slake again. And I'm going to start over with my font, try to find something interesting. But like I said, relaxed. The outline effect is kind of messing me up now. There we go. Okay, that's got a very different feeling, I think, but still nice and relaxed. I like that. And this time, I think we are going to go ahead and do a shape. I kind of like, for this one, we got a lot of choices here. For this one, what's a shape I'm going to use for my fizzy drink? Got lots of interesting shape options. I like this one, this kind of diamond-y shape. Ooh, very different feeling on this logo, but they both have a nice relaxed feel, which is what I was going for. Done with that. There's my second logo idea. And then you might do a third or a fourth. When you are done, and I do want you to try to do at least 3, when you are done and you are ready to save this out and save it as a file that you might use later in some of your coursework and that you can turn in on Microsoft Teams, right up here at the top right, you have this little up arrow. That's the kind of the share button. That is going to allow me to save it out. And I have 2 options. One is solid color and the other one is transparent. The solid color option would save it out with a white background, and the transparent option will save it out with a see-through background. I'm actually going to go ahead and use that see-through option because that's going to make it easier for me to take this and use it in my work later in the future. I'm going to choose transparent, and I'm going to choose save image. Okay, it's going to ask me permission to save it into my photos on my phone, and I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and do that. And then there it is. It should be saved into my phone's storage, and I should be able to upload that onto Teams and turn it in as my work. All right, guys, please save this video and come back to it when you need help, but that's the work.